All right, it's 7:03, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. We have a quorum. Stephanie reached out to me about an hour ago, said she would not make it. Paige has a business commitment this evening. She's going to try to join us later in the meeting if she can, but I'm not counting on it. And Jan was traveling back from Bermuda today. And if I were her, I probably would rather chill out at home than come
Really?
to a meeting, so.
Absolutely.
If she walks through the door, that'll be great. So I'm going to go through the agenda in fact, if you guys want to move up where you're a little more visible, I mean, or more comfortable, that's fine.
Both wearing denim today. We got the.
We're not
got
going
the
to,
memo.
we're not going to swear you under oath, so your
Cowboy
testimony is.
tuxedos.
So, all right, so let me go through the agenda. I had asked to have some copies printed up, that didn't happen, so we'll open it up for some public comment, and then I want to talk about potential engagement with Baldwin community. Paul Swindlehurst is here tonight, and then we have two guests, David and Helen Walker, with the Londonderry Presbyterian Church that have a program that they're going to be doing in July that they want to share with us. I want to focus on upcoming events that are time-sensitive. Wild Apples launch is May 17th. There's a senior jam scheduled for June 1st, Greg, that I want to talk to you about. And then Concerts on a Common kicks off on June 4th, so we need to focus on whatever action items we have to take between now and those dates. Also, the second item on the agenda was the nomination of Paige Williams as an alternate voting member. And then, under financial matters, we'll vote on the allocation of town funds between the two sub-accounts, Concerts on the Common and the Arts account. I didn't update the Wild Apples budget, Dasha, but we'll talk about the donations that have been made, which were very generous. And Stephen, we want to focus on Concerts on the Common and anything that needs to be done, as you prepare to launch that. And then as under old business, we should have a recap, Karen and Greg on the Arts Cafe, how that went, what we think about doing in the future. Kit, you want to discuss Art in Action or some variation on that theme? We need to talk about the library artist program because we have a situation going on there that we need to talk about. I'll give you a quick update or thoughts on the Andy Mack Tree Project. And then if Paige makes it, we can talk about the art community networking event that she's been proposing. So that's a pretty full agenda. So anyway, I do want to welcome Paul Swindlehurst and David and Helen Walker, and being as there no other, and Paul, unless you want to have an opportunity to speak during public comment, okay. So we're good on public comment. So Paige has plugged into the group as a volunteer over the last few months. I want to just get everybody's sense of how you think that's going, and I think it's probably time for us to put her in a position as an alternate voting member, so we can talk about that. But anybody want to offer their feedback on Paige's contributions so far?
You're looking at me, so yes,
I know
she's
I'm
wonderful.
looking at Kit, but you're in the way.
Oh, thank you. Don't look at me.
But feel free to chime in.
Sorry, kid. Go ahead.
Oh, no, yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think that she's bringing a lot of really good ideas to the group, so I'm looking forward to locking her in.
Yes, seconded.
Second.
Lock her in.
I haven't had any contact with her at all, but I'm only hearing good things from everybody who's worked with her, so
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
good.
I
All right.
think she's a good asset. to the
Okay, so getting a positive vibe here, so
Vibe is
officially we
right.
need
Hey,
somebody
anybody who's
to
crazy enough to join us.
make a motion that we vote to nominate,
Came more than once.
I'll make the motion.
okay, to
Vote Paige
nominate
in
her.
as
And just so you guys understand the process, we will submit her name with a request that she be appointed to that position. She'll have to come to the town council meeting in the future for a nominal interview. It's basically, you know, an endorsement of what we have in mind, but they do want to speak to the candidates beforehand, and then the town council will more than likely approve her appointment and make it official. So Karen made a motion to vote. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. The ayes have it. So I'll follow up by putting a memo together to the town council.
You're gonna call her to break the bad news to her, to tell her she's been accepted?
And then I'll try to get her scheduled for a meeting with the town council in the next 4 weeks. All right, let me tell you about a very, very lovely tour I had with Paul last week. He invited me to visit the Baldwin community and gave me a tour of that facility, and we had a very wide-ranging and positive conversation. And I have followed through and reached out to, you know, the individual that you suggested I get in touch with, and so I'll try to firm something up with her. But first of all, thank you from me personally for the tour, but also for your generous contribution to Wild Apples. We appreciate that very much.
Absolutely.
So we have done everything concrete in place, but I think Paul and I both agreed that theirs is a pretty vibrant community, and they're looking for ways to engage with the community of Londonderry, and I think there's also some nice potential to maybe do some programming over there. But, you know, the first step is to explore a potential relationship. They have sponsored Concerts on the Common, Stephen, this year, right?
Yes,
And
yeah.
they're what,
Yeah, he does, they're a gold.
they're a gold sponsor, which is very good.
Great.
So the next step for me is to arrange a meeting with their Director of Life Enhancement, Linda Carlton, and I'll get together with her and see what makes sense. But it may involve going over there to make a presentation on what we're all about and what we're doing, learn a little bit more about programming that they have over there that's synergistic with what we're doing. So I'll take that action item as the next step. So, Paul, anything you want to add to that?
I don't think so, Larry, not much. Dave, it was great to have you there, and
Thank you.
appreciated the interest that you showed in the Baldwin. My wife Jan and I moved there just 7 months ago, and still settling in. There are about 300 people living there now, and it's
What's
about,
capacity? Do you know?
It's about 90% full at this point.
Really?
Yeah, so
That's a big
it
place.
is a big place. It's a nice place to live, it's a nice community in which to live. And I mentioned last month when I was here, I was very involved in Newburyport. City politics and nonprofit organizations, and I'm looking for opportunities in Londonderry now that Jan and I have settled in here to kind of restart with that here. So one of the first steps was to have Larry at the Baldwin, and then the follow-up that he just talked about. It'd be great.
Thank you. Good. Before we move into the next segment to talk about your initiative, I just want to remind everybody in the room and let those that don't know that this is a public meeting. The reason we're sitting in this council chamber is that it's a public meeting that's open to the public, but it's also being recorded. So if you look in the back of the room there, on that wall, you'll see a camera with a little green light on it. So just so you know, fair warning that this is being recorded and will be, I don't know if it's live streaming right now, but it will be rebroadcast on the local cable access channel.
I'll be doing my stand-up routine later, so, it's, you know.
Okay, so without further ado, welcome David and Helen, and if you would please let us know what the church has in mind for your July event and your thoughts on how we might be able to help you.
Okay.
Make sure that's working.
Is this going to work?
No.
Good. Everyone hears it?
It must work for the videos, but
I
it
guess they
doesn't
do.
sound in here.
Okay, very, very good. We want to thank you very much for inviting us to come to your meeting and to represent Londonderry Presbyterian Church and also Kids by the Common Early Learning Center. And I have all kinds of notes retired teacher here. So I have all kinds of notes here, but let me just cut to why we're interested in having a chat with you. We are thinking about having a Chalk the Church. Chalk the Church means having the fun of taking chalk and writing all over the parking lot, which I think is a fantasy for many of us. It seems like a great fun thing to do. And so what we're interested in is having some of you be the judges of the persons who choose to participate. So that's why we have an interest in presenting to you what we're planning to do. We are familiar with the Arts Council. David and I have lived here for 6 years. We have been to concerts on the Common. We've been to the Parmenter Barn for a wonderful symphony. We have seen the work of many of your artists in this area, and they are fantastic. So we're very much interested.
Are you the same Ellen Walker?
Yeah.
Ellen's
Yeah,
also
yeah,
published here.
She's a contributor?
Yeah, page
Contributor.
something or rather in there.
Yeah, I love your work. Here it is, actually.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
They have a story unto themselves. Yes.
I love them so much. Sorry to interrupt you. I just
Yeah,
wanted
they're
to
from
shout
my
out.
great-grandmother's quilt, believe it or not. They're collages from my great-grandmother's quilt, and they're really fun to put together. So we are looking at July 26, and that is a Saturday. And we are looking at a 9 o'clock in the morning registration, with the hours for the drawings to be from 10 to 2 for the artwork that will go onto the parking lot. And you, whoever decides to come from the council, you are certainly welcome to be there the entire time, but we would like the judging to be from 2 to 4 p.m. if possible. And then at 4 p.m., your representatives would announce the winners, the ones that you have chosen as being the best artists. And we are thinking that we will offer spaces for teams, a space of about 5 feet by 7 feet for a team to do their work, or an individual 3 feet by 3 feet. The cost for the team would be $50. That's what we're talking about as we speak. For the individual, that would be $25 as we speak. And that is possibly negotiable, as maybe even with some suggestions from you as to whether you think that is a good price or not, because we're certainly willing to listen to what you have to say, because you certainly know the area much better than we do. We're going to have spaces for children to participate, because they will think that is the most fun in the entire world, so that they can do this also. Now, we will have prizes that we will get from local businesses, and that will give the local businesses wonderful advertisement, because we will make sure that the businesses are mentioned in our advertisement, so that people will know, number one, what the prizes are going to be, and number two, the businesses that have contributed. The theme is going to be Christmas in July. So we would like everything to be representative of something Christmassy, maybe a combination of how Christmas, flows into summer, how summer flows into Christmas, that sort of thing. Everything has to be original, and people are not to bring anything commercial with them to copy. Everything has to be original. And then we're thinking possibly of having some partners come along, possibly some food trucks, maybe the ice cream man might like to be there. And then there is the most fun thing that we talk about at church, and it's called a walking taco. And so we're thinking maybe that we'll put together walking tacos, which are, anybody familiar with, walking tacos, Midwestern thing. So what happens is you start with a shell, and then you go down a table and you choose what you want to put onto your shell, and then you have something around the taco, and you walk around the parking lot looking at all the wonderful drawings and chewing on your taco. And so that is a walking taco.
That's fun.
And then the ladies of the church who love to make chewies and gooeys and all of that good stuff, we will make our brownies and our cupcakes and all of that. And we'll have those available also, along with things to drink, lemonade, that sort of thing. There's also a thought maybe of having T-shirts available for purchase, or maybe even T-shirt given with registration. That's something that we're sort of throwing through the air at this point also. So this is what we are looking at, Saturday, 26th of July. And we probably will have to think of a rain date too, because that is in the middle of summer and it could be a very interesting day. And then it will be at the church, the Presbyterian Church, there on the corner of Pillsbury and Mammoth in the parking lot. We'll have people who will show where the cars should be parked so they're not in the spaces. The spaces will all be marked around. They'll have perimeters around them so that people will know where their spaces are. The purpose is to make money to assist Kids by the Common. The supplies that they need, the snacks, any number of things. We have little people, so they always need, big packs of diapers, that sort of thing. So the purpose, all the money will go to Kids by the Common. And it's a mission of our church, and the mission of our church is to contribute to the community, to the families, and to the persons who live in our area. So is there anything that I can help with, questions that you're having at this point? And I'm going to say, Dave, do you want to add anything to it?
Kids by the Common, KBC, commonly known, is a nonprofit organization connected to Londonderry Presbyterian Church. And we're still kicking around the idea that if it were to rain, we could do chalk drawings on newsprint and do that upstairs in the fellowship hall. But that's still in flux.
I have a roll of brown craft paper, about 3 feet
Yes.
tall, and it's a roll.
Yep.
If you guys would need that, I'd be happy to donate it to you.
Oh,
It's taking
wonderful.
up space in the workshop, and I've got no
Give his
use
phone
for it.
number.
So you'd be welcome to have it.
Wonderful.
Oh, okay.
And we would be,
Alrighty.
we would be welcome to have it just because
You-
Kids by the Common.
Right, you
is
can
something
just
that,
have it.
our
If you guys
children
think you
could
can use it, it's yours.
Yep.
Awesome.
She's gonna get your number.
Is that a daycare like, I guess?
It is not a daycare. At one point, when we first moved here, there was a person who ran a daycare out of our church. Our pastor, when she was hired, it'll be 3 years ago this September, she thought that KBC was a private daycare. It was never a private daycare. The former pastor, as wonderful as she was, had no administrative experience. So what happened was, our new pastor thought that this director was the owner of the childcare. That was never the case. Our pastor found records that went back to the 70s when the church had the expansion of the fellowship hall and all of the classrooms. And the people at that time who were members of the church decided it was going to be a full-time childcare. It never materialized. So we said to the director of the former KBC, we're going to go full-time. We think that Londonderry needs full-time childcare, and it indeed does. And the former director didn't want to have anything to do with it. So she resigned, and we hired a director. And we recently hired a new director with oodles of experience from New Hampshire. Her name is Beth Connolly. And we are not at capacity yet, but we're growing. And this will be the first year of it being a full-time early learning center. It goes 6 weeks old to 5 years old, but we're looking at, because Londonderry has a need for full-time kindergarten, and the voters were very clear on not wanting to foot that bill. So our church is going to open a full-time kindergarten as part of KBC come this fall. But it is full-time. It starts at 6:30 in the morning, where parents are dropping children off and then going to work, often in Boston. We're grabbing from Nashua, Manchester, Auburn, Londonderry, Derry, quite a circle. And
We close at 5:30, and so we're 6:30 to 5:30. And I've been working there all week long, and my goodness, it's absolutely amazing. I walked in the first day, and I expected to hear all kinds of sounds that you would think would be there with little people. And it was lovely and placid, and I walked by a classroom, and they were just busy playing with kinetic sand, I was told, is what it's called. And it looks like the worst mess ever, but it's so much fun. They were having the greatest time with it. And the children are very, very contented. It's not what you would expect. There's not all kinds of noise, crying, that sort of thing that you would think would happen in a child care. Kids are very, very happy. But it's a lovely, lovely environment too. Very stimulating with its colors, toys chosen appropriately, and activities. It's going very, very well. We're very, very pleased with what's happening.
And we're both on the education committee. Our pastor is the executive director. Her daughter, who will have her early childhood education degree from Prescott College in Prescott, Arizona. And that's why we're here tonight representing KBC, because the pastor and her daughter are in Arizona.
They had something better to do.
Right, exactly. But we have probably 50 or 60 years of experience with children
Did you say that?
between us.
How could that be?
Well,
This is
I have 3 adult children, and so I have over 100 years of experience. The way you calculate that number is you take the ages of your children and
That's right.
you just add it
Okay,
up.
well, that would be 4 times 9 times grandchildren.
Anyway, well, thank you.
14
So
times great.
I'll open it up to everybody here for questions and comments. And I will say there are a couple of things that we may align with in terms of what you're doing. But Kit and Karen run a youth art contest that we started during COVID. We were looking for ways to, continue our programming remotely. And so they came up with the idea to run a youth art contest, which we continue every year. And they may have some insight that you might find useful
4
in terms
years
of.
now? 4 years running we've been doing it?
So I'll leave it there,
Horrified.
so Kit and Karen, if you want to share any thoughts on that. The other thing is that we do run events where we ask participants to pay a fee to be involved in it. And Karen runs an arts cafe that we just completed a few weeks ago, and she may have some insight. You mentioned some price points in terms of, the spaces that would be available to people, so. Without putting you guys on the spot.
I don't know about prices, I'm not real good with that, so I'm not sure.
Well, what do
that
you typically charge an artist for,
Usually when we do our arts cafe, we keep it pretty low for them, so it's either $20 or $25 for,
but since you're doing it, as a nonprofit to,
Raise
generate.
money.
Yeah, you raise money, I wouldn't recommend going that low, but you may want to consider having a higher rate. And then Kit, we have, forgive me because I can't remember off the top of my head, but we have different age levels for the youth art contest.
Yeah.
And awards are made by category that way.
Grade level, yeah.
Yeah, so we had separated it into, now that I'm on the spot, I'm forgetting.
Is it 3? Is it 3 or 4?
There's three
Three
age
age
groups.
yeah.
Three categories.
So
5 to,
the overall event is ages 5 to 18, so we just kind of captured that student base, like first grade through. And then, Karen, do you remember the
It's-
cutoff?
5 to 8, 9 to 13, and 14 to 18 years of age.
But yeah, so that's an online event that we just recently finished displaying the art in the library. And then we give out gift cards to the Michael's Craft Store for the winners of that, which the gift amounts are $25, $50, and $100 for first, second, third in each category. So just a frame of reference of what we offer to the kids for winning in that event.
Now, do you purchase the cards from Michael's, or do they donate the cards?
No, we
We purchase them ourselves.
And the show is judged. My wife and I are both retired art educators. And there's a third judge that she's been with
Yeah,
us.
she's
right
an
from the start.
artist. Yeah, she's not a teacher, she was an artist,
So we go through it and we use a specific criteria that we grade. And then we pool our choices together, the three of us, and come up with the rankings.
I don't know that I would be very good at judging because I don't know criteria that you use. And unfortunately, my sister, I'm waiting to go to New York to visit my family, but I'm waiting to hear from my sister when she can have me, so I don't want to commit to a day and then have to cancel because that's when my sister's
Well,
available to
what I'm
host
gonna
me.
recommend,
So,
Karen and everybody, we have a couple of members that are not here tonight, one of which I think would be good to get in the loop, at least in terms of our internal discussion. Jan, I think would be a good one to have weigh in
Yeah.
on this, so
I agree.
if it's all right with you, what I'd like to do is, finish whatever questions you might have and any thoughts that we might share with you. Let us take it under consideration and see what kind of consensus we come to, and then get back to you if that works for you.
Excellent.
Yeah, any questions on your part that we can help you with, or?
I don't think so at this point. We're good.
What just came to my mind was that we need a criteria list, so judges would have something specific.
Well, I mean, when you're putting out your Christmas in July, and then you're talking about original work, so that kind of gives the judges a feeling for, what you're looking for.
Right, the theme.
And how well whatever work they're doing approaches the theme that you've put out, so. My question to you is, how are you gonna get the word out for this event? Are you using the church, gatherings, the Sunday services
Well-
to get it out to the community, and then see
Yes,
if
and
they
we
can do
also
word
have-
of mouth as well to their neighbors
Yes.
and friends and that kind of thing?
Everything possible.
And we also have a Facebook presence, we also have a YouTube service
Okay.
that it can go out on that, and we have quite a few families in KBC itself, so they can spread the word. And we also have some high school workers, girls that come over to assist KBC, and
Nice.
they can get the word to the population
Sure.
at Londonderry High School.
Yeah, I mean, every avenue is worth exploring in terms of trying just to get
absolutely.
the word out, to make sure that as many people know about the event as possible. to
Another
get,
suggestion
as
I'd
much
have is,
involvement.
is that since, the church supports Concerts in the Common by letting us use the parking lot for handicap parking, I would think we could set up a table.
Sure.
And let them
Yeah,
set up a
absolutely.
table at
Absolutely.
the concerts before the event. It starts on June 4th, and it's every week, so I don't know how many there are before your event.
Well, that's quite a few, and certainly if it could be announced that with all of the townspeople that show up for those concerts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the way Stephen and his wife Julie run this is that if a sponsor has a tabletop display on the common, they're prominently positioned so that people, there's good visibility, and usually we try to get them into areas where there's a decent amount of foot traffic with people going back and forth to the ice cream truck or whatever. But at the beginning of every concert, Steve and Julie make announcements, and they acknowledge all the sponsors that have contributed financially or in kind. And I would assume, Stephen, you would certainly call out your organization and mention the program that you're undertaking, so.
Yeah, that would be greatly appreciated.
In fact, if you
and-
just wanted to write a quick blurb for Steve so that he could have it, all ready to use to announce when they do their announcements, just make it quick and sweet, and he could just put that right into his presentation, because he and Julie, like Larry said, they thank the sponsors, and they,
Have to
they
be
do the
very,
little-
very short, because our announcements before the concerts are already long. But what would be the best thing is when I announce it, I can point to a table and say, if you're interested, you can go get lots of information at the table you guys are at, or your representatives.
Well, the joy of having the concerts on the common is that, as you all know, the pastor's house is the manse. It's part of the complex that is Londonderry Presbyterian Church, and it's just across the street from the common.
Right.
So, I'm sure, we can get either the pastor, her daughter, who currently is the assistant director of KBC, but she will be the full-time teacher of the kindergarten when that is up and running. And we also have a director who lives in Manchester, but I'm sure we can get someone manning a table that it could be once it was announced in a short blurb, that someone would be there at the table.
Yeah,
Could
some-
even be us.
More
Yeah, that would be
information, or
ideal.
handouts or something like that,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that'd be great.
Very good, thank
And
you.
you're on the, I don't have a calendar in front of me, but you're gonna run this on, the 26th. So, what's that, about four concerts, Steve?
Oh, at least, right?
At
4 or 5
least.
concerts.
Yeah.
And we've been averaging 500 to 600 people a night on Wednesday night to show
Yeah,
up.
it's seven Wednesdays
Yeah.
before.
So
Nine.
that should be good
nine
exposure for you.
Yeah, absolutely, great exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'd be
So
9
at the very
concerts.
least, I think you can count on that, that support from us. And as I said, let us caucus internally and
Yes.
and loop in the other 2 individuals that aren't here tonight, and then we'll be back, yes, so. And you're welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting, but the next topic,
Thank you, but we've been working KBC while the pastor's been away. And so, as retired educators, you can imagine that
Sure.
now is probably our nap time.
I'll just give you a quick preview though, Helen. Dasha, we're gonna talk about wild apples next, and Dasha has the proofs.
Yeah, will we see you on the
Yes,
17th?
we will be there.
Okay, perfect.
Yes,
We'll-
yes.
we'll
I
talk
got my
about that.
tickets last night.
Yes, thank you for doing that.
I'm
And-
looking forward to it.
And it's nice finally meeting you.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
I'm
you
very glad
too.
to. I
Thanks
was
for
hoping
coming.
that we would connect tonight.
Thank
Very
you so
nice.
much for
Thank you
coming.
so much. Thank you very much for your time and for your interest.
You're welcome. Well, thank you for reaching out.
Good night.
Thank you. that way.
Okay, I got
Okay, Maya?
All right, Dasha, you're on deck.
Okay, so, things are looking good. Finally got there. Good night.
Good night.
Right.
So what has this been? Has it been over a year in the making? How
I
many?
think so.
It's actually been 2 years since.
2
you
years?
You first hatched the idea.
Since the
I know.
concept, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and really, I'm a procrastinator.
I still think it's impressive.
But I'm very happy with where it landed. So, the final copy is at the printer. We are gonna have copies, barring some horrible situation, on the 16th, so we'll have them ready on the 17th. I just did a kind of a spreadsheet, and it looks like actually 40 copies are already spoken for. I mean, nothing has been paid for from the contributors yet, but that's sort of what I'm gonna reserve on deck, and 10 for you. So,
Well, those are most of those are going to town officials, so, just so you know.
I'll blame them then. No, that's great. I think they should absolutely get a copy.
I mean, should
It's
we,
fabulous.
should we up the order, or is it too late to do that?
I think let's stick with 50, and then we
Okay.
can re-up for the summer if we feel like, if we run out, or if we end up,
Oh, we're gonna run out.
yeah.
50
Is
seems,
this
I mean, if you have
online too,
40 that
right?
you're
We
giving
can
away,
see it online.
you only have
or-
10 left.
I'm not giving them away. No, the 10 are going to Larry, and the sponsors are all gonna get one, of course.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's like 15.
yeah.
And the rest are spoken for by a contributor, but they're gonna pay for them at cost.
I misspoke. I meant that it sounded like you already had 40 that you're not giving them away, but they're called
They're called
they're called
for.
for,
I mean, the
yeah.
contributors might not show up. They might not. They just told me they were interested, so it's not like a guarantee that those are all gonna be called for.
Yeah.
But yeah, what you're saying is that we only have
Only
a
have
buffer
10
of
left.
10.
Yeah.
Um,
So, I mean, if you'd only have 10 at the release party then?
I'm gonna bring all of them, and it's up to the contributors pretty much to come up to me and pay for theirs, you know? So it's gonna be first come, first serve, I think, unless that's a bad way to go about it, and I should somehow,
Well, you can, first of all, the 10 that I'm taking, most of them I'm gonna give to town officials and the library, right?
yeah,
And I may keep 1 or 2 for myself.
you should.
So those, you can use those as a buffer if
see.
the day of,
Yeah,
you know, you sell it out early, I mean, I can, you
Yeah.
can put another order in and we can.
Can't have mine.
And then, the other thing you can do, since we're talking about the transactions, is you can put people on a wait list and just, you know, maybe ask them to pay up front, but,
Yeah.
so, you know, or however you wanna handle that, but, you can just generate a list of people that
Yep.
we ran out,
and we'll print more.
and we'll print more.
Yeah, their turnaround time is only like a week, honestly, so.
So in terms of, when you say cost, rounding, I would round it up to $15, and
15,
what's the printing cost?
1388,
How much?
1388.
Per
Copy.
Have you told people what the cost is?
No, I gave them an estimate. I actually estimated, I think, between 15 and 20 before I knew what it was.
All right, well, if you want to be closer to what it's actually going to cost you, I would recommend making it $14,
Yeah,
because somebody's going to have to sit there and make change.
I know.
We can't have pennies anymore.
No, I'm not, yeah, of course I'll round it up to 14, yeah, that's
Stop
fine.
making
Yeah.
pennies.
I'm not gonna be like,
You know what costs more than, it costs like almost 3 cents to make a penny?
Yeah,
Yeah, doesn't surprise.
It does. It costs 3 cents to make a penny. So what's the point?
Yeah.
It's like,
So, Stephen, you guys have a cash box, right?
yes, we do.
yeah, so that's what we need to figure out. We need a cash box, we need somebody to man that table, I think, the book table. Somebody needs to, I think, probably sit there and, take cash, take check, made out to Londonderry Arts Council, would that work?
the town of Londonderry?
Town of Londonderry?
Town of Londonderry.
Town of Londonderry, yeah.
Yeah, it should be
Yeah,
the
we've
town.
never done, we've never had someone come with a checkbook, I guess, but, there's no reason not to.
I don't think
It's only
that'd be a problem.
$15, worst case, right, that they write us a bad check.
I'm not worried, but
Yeah, I'm not worried about that
Yeah.
either. So I would suggest maybe that, unless you have someone that volunteers for a table, just to incorporate it into the table that we have with the T-shirts. And so you come over and get T-shirts and the books would be there.
oh, you're talking about concerts on the Common?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
She's talking about the release party.
oh, the release.
sorry, I
party.
did not make
Yeah.
that clear, but yeah, I'm gonna bring 50 copies to the release party, where
Gotcha.
we're expecting about 30 people to attend, maybe more. So somebody at that event should be in charge
right,
of
gotcha.
this. Like, it could be me, it could be somebody else, doesn't matter, but, yeah, one of the things we need to figure out is how to take payment, given that we don't have a credit card processor, and that's how most people pay for stuff nowadays.
Yeah.
So, cash, check, or can I just set up a Venmo account, take the
Yeah.
cash out from my account, and then deposit it to the town?
Yeah, I
Or
would
write a
think
check.
you could do that. The other thing, it would be a mess, kind of, but we can take money through our website. Maybe we could have like a laptop set up, and that'd be a pain in the butt, though.
Could be.
Yeah, that, no,
I
forget
don't
it.
know, do they even have Wi-Fi at the
You have
store?
to have, you could set up a, yeah, you could
Do
do
a
it, but-
hotspot or whatever, but yeah,
It'd be, I wouldn't do that. That'd be a pain in the butt.
okay,
Yeah, maybe just do a Venmo. Just say, here's my Venmo.
yeah.
And you get a list of from Venmo of here's what money I
Exactly.
got. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about
And
it.
then I can write a check from my account to the town or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
That sounds
All right,
good.
so in terms of manning the table, anybody interested in helping out with that, or?
Yeah,
I could help some, but I'm doing if it's near the refreshments, I probably could go
I can-
between
I
the
can
two,
help
but
too. I mean,
I
you
don't know
can
anything
take
about
turns.
Venmo. I could do cash and checks. If somebody asks about Venmo,
Yeah,
Karen,
like
if
no.
you're comfortable staying on the refreshments, I think that would be a great help.
okay, all right, yeah, that's
Julie, I
fine.
could help
Would be
with
plenty
the,
of work.
the other
Okay.
table.
Okay. I'm ready to stay.
What did you say, Stephen?
Julie and I could help.
Okay.
So you guys will be at the book table.
Because she was expecting to bring wine, so she's disappointed. She wants something to do.
We definitely can.
I dropped the ball on that.
Hey, you put it in a thermos, Steve. Nobody has to know what's in it.
Who wants more thermos? White or red?
I got word back from the town a while ago, and I thought I shared that, but apparently, I guess I dropped the ball on it. They vetoed the wine, because it's a town event. And,
Right.
they, basically, the acting town manager said no. And the way they handle it for Old Home Day is, the vendors, like they'll have a beer tent at the Lions Hall. The 603 Brewery donates all the beverages, so the town never takes possession of it, and they provide a licensed bartender to dispense it. And if we were to even get permission to do that, that's what we would have to do. I know you're disappointed, but
Do people bring their own beverages to the concerts on the Common?
not legally.
They're not supposed to.
No, there's no public drinking on town property. Now, I don't know what goes on at the Historical Society.
I don't know.
Well, you know those historical people.
These, if you guys want to look at these are proof copies. They're not perfect. The spine is not going to be white. The spine will be red, and there's some just inconsistencies in there, but you can get a sense of what it looks like. I'm really excited for
Did
this
you
party.
get refreshments set up yet? Or did you have donations? I was planning on making a vanilla bundt cake.
Oh, that'd be great. Hannaford's donated $50, which is awesome. They're going to give us a $50 gift card, so I'm going to
Is
pick
the
that up.
final gonna say Siren Acoustic Guitars?
It is,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Good catch. Yeah.
Only because it's actually a trademark infringement. There is a Siren Guitars and it's not us.
Okay.
So that's why it's Siren Acoustic
Yeah,
Guitars.
there's small edits like that that aren't reflected in there,
okay.
but yeah,
Nope, I'm
Larry
just
called it
checking.
out.
Just checking.
Yeah, I need to figure out refreshments, obviously. I need like a
I
list
do-
of stuff to buy.
I do have stuff from the Arts Cafe. I think I have paper plates. I might have cups. I don't know how many cups I have. And napkins. I can go through that and send you what I have
That'd be great.
to bring, that for that.
Perfect. Yeah, does anyone have any like sort of must-have hors d'oeuvre suggestions? Otherwise, I'm just gonna, I don't know, go to the store.
If you could roast a pig on a spit.
I do
Your
have tons of like big black bowls and trays and stuff like that.
Oh,
if you want to
great.
use those too,
Yeah.
I've got a lot of
Roast Larry
those.
for years now, so
Oh,
that might be something. we
Spoons, there's big spoons, serving spoons and stuff, all
Awesome.
kinds of stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
So the $50 won't go far, so whatever you
I'm
decide
just
is.
gonna pay the rest. I'll just pay for the
No,
rest. I don't care.
you'll get reimbursed for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Figure it out.
What do you- So one thing, I'm just thinking hotter than July, right? So you probably want to just make sure you have lots of lemonade drinks available with ice.
And it's in May.
it's in.
Oh, what am
May
I'm thinking
17th.
July.
Well,
like
this
a
event
week
is in
now.
July.
Yeah.
I had the same thought about
No.
their event, though. I was like,
Bring
ooh, it's gonna
bring
be
an
hot.
umbrella if it's in May, my
Yeah.
God, the way things are going.
Yeah, I know.
Not only is it in May, it's like 10 days away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't remind me.
Which is why, no, believe me, it's very good that it's raining so much now. It lessens the chance of raining later on.
Yeah.
You'd think that, wouldn't you?
That's how it works.
Okay, if you think of any like great ideas for hors d'oeuvres, send them my way. Otherwise, I'll just,
Do you want
My
to
best.
see what I've got that might help you when you go buy stuff? Because I've got all kinds of bowls and
Sure.
platters and.
yeah.
So maybe I can stop by your house sometime when it's.
Yeah, I mean, you can, if you want to like send me some pictures or something. I mean,
Okay.
I can also purchase everything and then let you know what we'll need, because I have stuff at home too. And I'm
Okay.
just really trying to keep it pretty simple.
Yeah,
I don't want anything like elaborate,
yeah.
like,
I have the big
messy.
trays with covers and everything. Every time I work had catered stuff and stuff they don't want back, and I would bring it home for Arts Cafe, so
Incredible.
I've got a
I
lot.
just love this
awesome,
thing.
thank you.
I love it.
What else did I want to mention about the party? Larry, you and I will need to like tag team on an intro or something in introducing the
Yeah.
readers.
Tell me what you need from me. I'm happy to do whatever
Okay.
you need.
I'm gonna try not to be last minute about it, but that's my tendency. But I think in general, like, if you wanna have a short address or something, like akin to your message from the editors, that would be awesome.
Be happy to.
And then there's a few readers, probably like 4 or 5. People are gonna bring their original art for setup. I told them you have to bring your own easel or something, or else it's just gonna sit on a table.
Yeah.
We can't be responsible for any damages, of course, so.
What do you need in terms of tables?
Yeah, I was wondering.
I'm doing a walkthrough with Linda this Sunday, so I'm gonna see what their table situation is. From my memory, they have folded tables there. So we may not need to bring anything.
Okay. I'm gonna look at this at the end of the meeting.
Oh, yeah,
if-
sure, yeah.
So in terms of the cash box, if you're gonna charge $14, you just need to have enough change, singles, fives, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
in
I'll
order
bring
to-
that.
We can get that.
You sure?
Yeah, we're bringing the cash box. We'll just, we kind of know the drill from T-shirt sales, so.
Thank you, yeah.
So if you make it $15 though, that would be the
Yeah,
easiest thing in
honestly, I'd
terms
make
of
it
not,
15 bucks.
not
That's
needing
what I was thinking
change or anything
before.
like that.
Okay.
Well, that's why I
It's
came
not-
up, why I came up with the number, but it's up to you, it's your call.
I just think $15 is,
I think that is a nice round
it's a nice
number.
round number and it's certainly reasonable.
Yeah.
You pay more than that for something smaller, I think.
I don't know. 15 is fine.
It's up to you, but that's how I came up with the number.
Yeah.
It's
no,
just breaking,
Yeah, it's your deal.
breaking $20
You
bills,
decide-
but,
you decide what
it's
you
less,
wanna do.
less change. to
But
handle.
that's, yeah, that, if it's 14, that means you gotta give them a 5 and a 1, so.
Yeah.
Eliminate the 1.
You know what it costs to print $1?
$1.
No, that was a
Great,
que,
you guys.
that wasn't rhetorical, I just wanted to know.
I'll decide, I guess. I'll think on it. It's so silly, a matter of $1, but I'm like, I told them it would be at cost. And actually, let me get the final bill from the printer. Maybe there's gonna be an unexpected charge or
No,
something.
no, if
So-
you told them that, I mean, I wouldn't be giving them 20, what is it, 13.88 or something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be giving 12 cents.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
But
Yeah.
if you, 14 is fine.
Yeah, if it's gonna be 14, I mean, it's not the end of the world. We'll just get a bunch at once.
We
Okay.
just need to know in advance, that's all,
Yeah.
so you can make change.
Okay, let's do 14.
Okay,
Let's do 14.
fine.
Let's do that. And then for the people that aren't contributors, what do you think we'll want to maybe ask for, like at concerts and the Commons or something? Like 20?
Sorry, what is it?
If for people that aren't contributors and just want to buy a copy for themselves, that's not at cost.
So if we have them available at the concerts on the Common, what would you sell them for? 20?
Yeah, 20 is a fair price for that, I think.
That's what I was thinking. Cool.
And we can
You know,
parlay that in and get more copies if we run out, if we just keep selling them.
Stephen, you can weigh in on this, but it's important that the concerts are free. We're
Right.
never gonna waver from that. But I'm always amazed at how many people reach for their wallets and wanna help out in some way. But, and like the T-shirts, a lot of people say, I wanna contribute, and I say, go buy a T-shirt, so,
Yeah.
I think asking $20 for that, I mean, that's a spectacular body of work. You've done a really, really good job with that.
Yeah.
Thanks to the
That's
contributors. Thanks to everyone
Oh, I
that
know.
Well, like I
submitted.
said, I was saying before you got here that I think that this is a wonderful opening, and I think that it's only gonna encourage more artists to wanna contribute to future issues.
Yeah.
And that you're gonna keep, you'll be able to keep the quality of the stuff, the contributions really high. And I think it's, because right now it's fantastic. And then I just think there's a potential for it to get even better. I don't know how, but it can get even better,
Awesome.
So, yeah, I think it's great. I love it.
Thank you.
So Dasha, what are the hours of the event?
3 to 5 p.m.
3 to 5, I told the town council it was 4 to 6. All right, I'll fix
Okay.
that.
How did that go, by the way?
I don't know. How did it go, Stephen?
It was great. Larry did a very good, I mean, we were easy because Constance and the Common were telling him what they already know. But he had to explain what Wild Apples even was, right? They didn't they didn't know, so you did a great job explaining it, yeah.
Thank you,
for
Larry.
sure.
Well, it didn't feel that way to me, but I'll take it.
No, honestly, I thought it was super.
So 3 to 5 p.m. If you have, if you're volunteering to help out, thank you.
it's at the barn?
First of all, yep, it's at the barn. You can come a little early. We'll be there at 2. Me and Paige. And if you want to join for the walkthrough, it's at 3 p.m. this Sunday with
What
Linda.
PM this Sunday?
Yeah, Karen, if you might,
Okay.
if you're around, that might be helpful, so you can see what the setup will be like. I do need to figure out if they have a PA. I don't think they do, but I have like a portable PA and a microphone.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
You
even
can
know.
bring
If,
my system if you want.
I don't know if it'll be big enough to need a PA actually.
It's just a single column, doesn't use a lot of space.
Yeah, I have one that's like portable like this.
Okay.
That could work. Do you think you've been in the barn? Do you think it needs a PA? For, like, speed?
We've used the PA when we've used,
You have-
There's
the
nothing worse going to something and you can't hear what the person's
Yeah.
Yeah.
saying.
Do you have a mic stand?
Oh, yeah,
Okay, I might need to borrow that.
He's got a,
we got a couple.
He's got
he's got a music
whole-
warehouse.
You have a guitar you could bring?
venue.
I might be able to dig one up, Steve, I'm not sure,
I was
but,
gonna ask if you two wanted to perform My Far
yeah,
Horizon,
we could work on it. Sure.
but it's
why not?
short notice, so
But we wrote it, so,
planting the
Yeah,
seed.
but we wrote it 20 years ago.
was it that long
Was
ago?
it any good? I can't
Oh,
remember.
my God.
You
Was
can
that
listen to
long
it. Scan the
ago?
QR code.
Yeah, scan the QR.
Well, that's because he doctored it up in his studio, so.
All right, I think that's it from me. Thank you all for making this happen.
Thank you
Well,
for.
thank you.
Thanks for your hard
the
work on
idea
it,
and
Dasha.
putting it
It's-
together.
It's,
You should be very pleased.
you should be
Yes,
proud.
very
It's,
proud.
it's,
I'm relieved.
it's a
Yeah.
very, very, impressive body of work,
Thank you.
so,
Excited.
yeah, it's great.
Let me get a copy of
Yeah.
that. Paul, you want to take a look at this? Sorry, I was waiting for it to work its way around to you. All right, next on the agenda is Senior Jam. I have a request. Are you open to moving the date so that you can be there
Yeah, sure.
a week later? I mean, I'll reach out to.
Yeah,
Laura.
reach out to Alona, but if you wanna do it a week later, we can do it a week later. Yeah, I ran into a scheduling problem. There's a guitar show in Boston, and, we really wanna be there. Siren Acoustic Guitars has bought 2 tables to set up our instruments, and, so we really feel as though this is something that we have to do for the business. And so, it's on that Sunday, so. I
Well,
was thinking of just sending Josh to do it, but then I thought, yeah, you know what, he's gonna need us both to be there, so. I asked Larry and Dan if they could run it, and I guess Larry would rather have me there.
what did Dan say?
You know what, he was kinda, yeah, I'll try to be there and do my best, but
well,
he didn't.
It
Commit.
would be very stressful for me
Okay.
to run that, and I can't fill your shoes anyway.
Ask her if
I
she
just-
wants,
I
if she
just
can
sit there
move
and make
it.
snide remarks, you know. And if I'm not making snide remarks, I'm napping, and then when it comes around.
But
to
you're
my-
so good at that, Larry.
It was a class I took in college. It was how to be snide without getting beat up. 101.
There's an art to it.
Thank you, Greg.
Tasha, what's the date again?
May 17th,
Okay.
Saturday.
Just want to make sure I write this all down.
All right, Stephen,
I'd hate to show up in the.
Concerts on the Common, the jazz ensemble, high school jazz ensembles on
June 4.
June 4th.
Let's see, so far we've raised $17,488. That puts us 1962 in the black. And I've ordered the banners and the signs that have the sponsor names on them. And of course, I got a call today from a sponsor that they want to be platinum. So I said, yes, we'll make a new banner, put you on that, no problem. So I should know tomorrow morning, though.
Sweet.
Yeah, so not a bad problem at all.
Who is that?
It's Ivy Academy. It's a new preschool up in North Londonderry. It's on Main Street. It's like, Main Street? Where's Main Street in
No,
Londonderry?
Main Street is.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a Main
is
Street?
where Paul lives.
No, but this is, well, that's a problem, because this is Main Street up in North Londonderry. I
There's
think.
a Main Street up there?
I think that's what the old, what the senior center's on,
That's Mammoth Road.
Old Mammoth Road.
That's Old Mammoth Road.
and Google's confused.
Main St-
Anyway, because I put in 30 Main Street, Londonderry, and I thought it went up to North Londonderry, but I don't know. Anyway,
Hey, we'll put any address down that they want us
Exactly,
to
yes,
if they're gonna
doesn't
be a
matter.
platinum member.
Londonderry, Ireland.
It says they're from Hingham, Mass, but that might be some,
No, so what is a franchise?
oh, okay, sorry.
And so look for Ivy Academy, Londonderry location or something.
Okay, cool.
So we have 40 or 41 sponsors this year. That's up from 36 last year. The thing is, 17 of them, maybe 18, are platinum,
For just
which
Main
is a
Street.
lot. So that's great. We have 12 raffle gift cards from the 99 and 12 from Estes Country Store. Great, so this is a big one. Great New Hampshire Restaurants gave us 24 $25 gift cards again for volunteers this year. So I think that worked out really well last year because we were able
Estes
to.
did that? Estes Lumber?
No, Great New Hampshire Restaurants, which is T-Bones and
Copper Door
Copper
and.
Door. But I don't
Ash-
think you can use it at the Copper Door. You can use it at Cactus Jack's or
Oh,
T-Bones.
okay.
Cactus Jacks or T-Bones, okay.
But so we had a thing last year was, you signed in when you came to help, and if you had anytime during the season, times that you came to help, you would get a gift card. And so we gave lots of gift cards out, which is great. So that's kind of where we're at. We have to get over to the bandstand still and just make sure things are still standing. We're in really pretty good shape, and the first one's always a soft opening because it's the high school jazz
Right.
ensemble. and they
Just
know
lots of
very well.
families, lots of
Not much
proud
else to do.
moms and dads in the audience.
Yeah, not much for us to do except hang the banner and kind of remember all the stuff we forgot at home. So,
Good. And by the way, you and Julie did a fabulous job the other night at the
thank
town
you.
council meeting. It was, I don't know if I told you, but I heard from somebody the next
Yeah,
day
you
that,
told me.
they thought it was perfect. Thought you
Yeah,
really
well,
did a
that's-
good job.
that was good feedback. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And we learned from you. We did.
Larry?
Larry, may I ask a question?
Sure.
Do you have a practice of collecting money at the concert for people who want to give a donation?
No, we really discourage it because we don't want someone, I mean, if they want to come up to the table and
Yeah.
buy a T-shirt,
Yeah.
then donate that way,
Yeah,
fantastic. But my concern is that if I come to you and you say, hey, I want to give you $20, the guy next to you is going to feel like, come
Yeah.
on, I should give you $20. And no, we don't do that. If you want to, you can contribute online.
yeah.
You can go to our website. So we have two ways that we can kind of point them.
I ask only because I mentioned this to Larry, part of my experience in Newburyport was Yankee Homecoming, which is a 9-day summer festival, and I was the general chair for a year. 250 volunteers, it's really a big deal. We do 8 concerts, 8 nights in a row. And we had a bucket brigade, we have a bucket brigade, so there's about a half
Yeah,
dozen.
but you guys used to have like first run, sometimes famous people playing, right?
Not always.
No?
And so we'd have 6 or 7 or 8 volunteers out with a Home Depot bucket with a slot cut in it. And just walk around and then make an announcement from the stage. People generally threw in either change or a couple of bucks. It would be unusual to get $20. What really changed things was 2 years ago, we started to attach a QR code so people could make Venmo gifts.
Yeah.
And they just shoot the QR code in the bucket.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a ton of money, it all helps. It wasn't a ton of money, but there are people that really were happy to give. You
Sure.
know,
No,
they really-
absolutely, absolutely.
One band member, in fact, when they introduced this, said that this is a pay concert on the honor system. Meaning you don't have to pay if you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to. But I also acknowledge that, thank you, the tradition here and what you're trying to pull off, Stephen. So I can see where it wouldn't fit. But I just thought I'd roll up the.
Yeah, no,
experience in
we've
Newburyport.
certainly discussed it, you know, every year.
Yeah,
But, yeah, it is kind of the tradition we've had, and,
you're doing so well in sponsorships.
yeah, it's exactly.
It's
And
not
like you
gonna
say, you're not gonna make a lot of money from it anyway.
Yeah,
To me, the kind of the feeling that goes with that, even though some people absolutely want to be able to do it, and,
Yeah.
but we have method for them to
it
contribute.
sounds like, yeah,
So,
yeah. Thanks for a couple minutes to choose to.
yeah,
finish
no,
up.
no. Thanks for your feedback. So I think that's it from, the concert, side of things.
Okay. Steph isn't here tonight to give us an update on where things stand with the New Hampshire Council on the Arts, so
Yeah, I
you have
don't
to
know.
keep track of what's going on at the State House in terms of whether that department's gonna get blown up or not, but,
It seems like it's gonna come back, but whether they have money or not, because if they get money from the feds,
Yeah,
then,
right.
yeah, so it's still a moving target.
Oh, the one thing I wanted to, I was about to thank him and he left, so that's okay. Anyway, Paul was very Paul and his wife were very generous to make a donation to Wild Apples. Jan has Siren Guitars, Greg has, I have, Richard Flyer donated, and we rounded up $750 that basically covers the cost of the first print run, from my math. So,
awesome.
thank you, everybody who contributed.
Yes.
All right,
Amazing.
oh, Stephen, do you need to do anything in terms of a call for volunteers for concerts on the Common this year?
Yeah, I mean, I'll do that on Facebook. I've got a bunch of Facebook stuff I have to catch up on, thanking sponsors. I've done the first round of sponsors, I have to do it again, stuff like that, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's on the list for sure.
okay.
But thanks for the reminder.
All right, let me shift things around a little bit, because I want to talk about Arts Cafe, but I want Greg to chime, oh, here he is.
Here he comes.
Greg, the next thing on the agenda is Arts Cafe, so I unfortunately came down with a nasty bug the day before and wasn't able to make it, but I want you and Karen to kind of do a debrief, let everybody know how the day went, thoughts on future direction and that sort of thing.
As far as, I think the artists really enjoy it, but I'm very discouraged with the amount of people that we get. And having it at the senior center is nice, but I think a lot of people see senior center, they think old people. I think it's not getting people in. And I wanted to do, I noticed usually the coffee, regular coffee goes like crazy. I have to fill that pot. This time, there might have been four cups of coffee out of that thing. So I'm wondering if people are getting away from drinking coffee and if maybe I should think of a different kind of thing. And I don't know, as far as musicians, it seems like it's getting difficult for you.
Well, the
you know,
problem
and-
was that, again, like Larry came down with the bug, and then 3 other musicians kind of canceled out on me last minute. Another one was not feeling well. Russ wound up at a retreat of some
Yeah,
sort. I don't know what that was all about, but, and then, who was the other one? And Dan couldn't do it, so it just turned out it was just me and Chris, but thank God Chris came, so, you know, I wasn't playing the whole time. But you know, I spoke with Steve Simon. Steve was a new artist. This was the first time he had done it, and he's moved to Londonderry just recently. He's only been here for about a year, I think. And it was interesting because I thought his work was really unique and really nice. So I sat down with him and we exchanged information, and I said, yeah, I'd like to go out to lunch with you and pick your brain on this and find out, you know, what your thoughts were. And I mean, obviously, the artists, they spend a lot of time setting their stuff up and getting there and everything, and not having the kind of numbers showing up is the biggest problem.
Very discouraging.
So I just keep coming back to something like using the Grange. I know we did do it at the Grange at one time. We did a couple of them there. I do remember, because there's a little stage at the end, and then the artists were on the side there, and there was a very out of tune upright piano that somebody played at one year, I think. I don't remember who it was, but I just think that, and it's on Mammoth Road. I mean, it just doesn't get any more central than that. That if we can't find a location like that, then I just don't know.
Yeah, it's just not.
I just
it's
don't know what
kinda
else
like
we
a lot
can
of
do.
work, and
It is a lot of
you know,
work, and you kind of expect, the artists kind of expect to be able to get a little more exposure than
Right,
they would
yeah.
get to do
I
this.
think the only
I
thing they
don't,
like
none of them
about it-
have a problem with the
No.
format of the event. They like it, they like the live music, you know, being played during and the light refresh, they like all of that. We just gotta find a way to boost,
Yeah.
you know, people showing
And I
up.
know Julie and Steve had gone to the Baldwins, and that was an option that we were thinking about too. But I'd like to do something a little different with it to maybe bring in, you know, and dash it, you know, because I mentioned this before, but you thought poetry wouldn't be good with music, but somehow or other incorporate something else, you know. I don't know. We need to brainstorm on
I mean,
it.
I agree with you all, and we had fielded the idea over email that combining the Arts Cafe with the Wild Apples launch party could make a lot of sense. One, because they're both happening in quick succession. Two, the launch party brings in a built-in
So
set
the,
of people that
the
come in.
launch party is going to be every year. This isn't just a one-time thing. It's going to be a launch one, like,
I mean, I guess we can decide on that.
okay.
If we want to do it every year, then it would be around the same time as the Arts Cafe. We
Okay.
don't have to do it every
Yeah.
year, but just saying, like, maybe reframing it as sort of like an annual Londonderry Arts Council exposition, kind of like, we're gonna debut the new issue of the Journal, we're gonna have
Live
some,
artists, they would have
Yeah.
artists there,
Yeah.
you know, displaying, and then.
we're gonna
Yeah.
have some
music.
poetry readings, you know,
Yeah.
the music might have to stop for the poetry
that'd be
readings, but
fine.
it
That
won't
would
be
be
too
fine.
long. And then I just wonder if it's like,
It's a possibility.
maybe we can think about reframing it not as an opportunity for artists to sell their work, because I think they probably aren't getting as many sales as they would like with
Yeah.
a lower audience, but more as like a exhibit where there's no expectation of like a exchange of money necessarily. So you're not setting up an expectation that is not going to be fulfilled on the artist's part, but it's more like an exhibit, a networking opportunity, and just kind of like an expo of our creativity in our area. And if we combine forces, like, I feel like we'll have the budget and the people power and kind of like the momentum behind creating one singular, like, really good, powerful event,
Yeah,
as opposed to like two in quick succession that aren't as impactful.
yeah.
As they
No, that
could
sounds
be.
like a good
It-
idea.
I want to draw you into this conversation because you and I spoke about, you know, trying to bring art and action back, and I think it fits into this thinking
yeah.
about.
Because I was actually having the same thought about art in action. Unfortunately, I do feel like we need to have some events where the artists like can focus on selling. But I was also thinking that art in action, it might draw more people in if it's less of a art sale and more of an exhibit.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that if we really promoted the events that way, then, you know,
I know in the past, we used the barn for an art in action at one time, and people were painting there, and there was live music, and I think it must have been later in the year because it was, both of the doors were open and people were walking in and out. So it must have been, it had to be probably sometime in May or June that
Is
we
this
did
I
it.
remember
barn
the
at-
event, I just don't
No,
remember.
I don't
when
remember
We
when
did the
it
summer
was.
finale,
Yeah, the summer,
finale.
well, that was a different, no, that was a different thing.
Since I've been on it, I don't remember
No,
doing
we did
anything.
do it, and because
Must
I
have been
remember,
before
first,
I
I
was-
Yeah,
remember,
it was
I
a-
remember
It was
vividly
a long time ago.
that one of the artists was painting, she was working on a piece with a kid in galoshes, kind of in the rain with an umbrella, and I remember just watching her paint it, and I thought, and I just thought it was just a really cool thing, but then I guess there was backlash for some paint must have got spilled on the barn floor, and the Historical Society
I don't know about
was
that.
was
but
upset about it or something.
when Kit and I met with the current president of the Historical Society, they were pretty adamant about not having anything that would put the the floor of the barn at risk by having, paint or materials spilled on it or whatever.
Right.
But the other, the other thing, not to lose sight of, is that many, many years ago, Elaine Farmer, who may have been, Stephen, you might know this better than me, but I think she was a founder of the Arts Council.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure, she may have been,
I
that was
think she
before
was
me.
when
I
Brian-
wasn't-
Anyway,
Kind
she
of
would run a program in
Art on the
September
Common.
called Art on the Common, and she would have 30 or 40 pop-up tents with artists, exhibiting their work.
And that, and that got a lot of foot traffic, a lot of people came to that.
Yeah,
But it was right there,
Very in your
Common,
face,
right
yeah.
on,
Was
right
it-
on Mammoth
Was
Road.
it like a sale, like sort of like a craft fair
Artists could
type
sell their
sale, or
work.
was it an exhibit, like how was it messaged to the public? Was it like kind of like the craft fair at St. Peter's where there's like a ton of tents and there are artists selling their work?
yeah, there
or
were
was
no
it like-
crafts, it was strictly,
Yeah.
Well,
Fine
craft,
art.
yeah.
Fine
what is
art.
that?
and it was for sale,
Yeah,
yeah.
It
But,
was
the
also-
other thing is,
it was also adjudicated, there was
Judged,
each artist who had a tent would take one of their pieces and put it in a juried
Oh,
show, and then, we would, I know this because I was a judge a couple of
Judge, yeah.
years.
Yeah,
And we went through them and we came up with, first, second, and third prize winners. And I don't remember what they got.
Well, I think they got some of the, you had to pay to
Oh.
be there, and they got some of that.
They got a
cut of-
refund or, yeah,
that,
some of that money back, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, it was, it was big. It was a lot of work though, because we
It
literally
was, yeah.
had to spray paint a grid onto the grass so that the artists would know exactly the location of their booth and they had so much space to work with.
I think we had a rain day once, we had it on a Sunday, cause Saturday.
And it was like
raining.
it was a mud pit, I remember. Oh my God, it was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did the artists provide their own tents for that?
yes,
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah, we just provided a square on the grass.
Yep, that's it. And a number. And then there was a map.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think you probably still have it, right? You must have,
I don't
somebody's
think so.
got something.
Yeah, I don't think I.
Somebody, I think we talked with Elaine at the Arts
Yeah, she
Cafe,
may. She
and I
may.
think she said that she may still have it somewhere. Yeah,
and I think she may be coming back to Londonderry, so
She-
maybe she'll
yeah,
get
she's,
involved with
uh,
us again.
she is, yeah, no, she's definitely trying to come back to Londonderry. They're waiting to sell the house in, is it Amherst? Is that where they are now?
She'll be there on the 17th, so.
Yeah, she will be there, yeah, she will.
anyway, I'm just putting that out there to first of all, to say that the common is at our disposal.
Yeah.
Anytime we want it. It's centrally located,
It's,
so that eliminates.
and
the
it's free of
visibility
cost,
issue.
it doesn't cost us anything to use it.
Right, yeah.
Right.
And so it's really, it's really a matter of taking, looking at the initiatives that we've had going on, some good, some not, that haven't, drawn a lot of people, and rethinking about what we can do. And I think the idea of doing a combined event
Yeah.
and making it more
Sounds
multi-dimensional
really good.
Yeah.
is worth pursuing.
Location matters, like, senior center, yeah, like even Paige was saying she thought it was, when she first saw it, like that it wasn't,
I know, people
open to
think-
everyone. In
yeah,
a church too, like, some people don't wanna go in a
Yeah.
church, Something like very public, very accessible,
Well, the historical area
yeah.
is, in the barn, is just, to me, is just the perfect spot.
We
to
do it
have
at
it.
Lion Salt? Sorry.
I love that barn.
So, how about the Baldwin? I thought we talked about that. Is that a
No,
possibility?
like I said earlier, Paul put me in touch with,
Yeah, so that's a possibility maybe?
yeah, well, I'm gonna meet with them, but I'd let you speak to that if you want to. I mean, you're not gonna speak on behalf of the Baldwin community, but the next step is for me to get together with,
But they have a space there then?
yeah, they have some flexible rooms.
Yeah.
Is that open to like all ages event? Like, I don't know how it works,
I don't know either.
I don't know yet either until I meet with them.
let us know.
I'll let you know.
Stay tuned.
All right,
Happy also to go to that meeting with you, Larry. If
Okay.
it works out, meeting with Linda Carlton and,
okay, yeah, thank you.
happy to meet him.
The next item, so I don't know, I think we all agree that we need to rethink what we've been doing with
Yeah.
some of these programs and
Yeah.
try to get creative about how we put something together. So Jan isn't here tonight, but I did respond to Donna Plant's email regarding the library artist program, and I'll reach out to her tomorrow. But there's a couple of things that we need to address. But one is that an individual came into the library indicating that he wanted to exhibit his work and doesn't have email or internet access, so he wanted to know how to apply. Thanks for joining us,
Thank you,
Paul.
Paul.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks
thanks a lot
Yeah.
for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thanks for the
Take
work you're
care.
doing.
Come by on the 17th if you're
I will.
free. Okay, perfect.
We'll be there.
Awesome.
great.
We'll see you there.
So rather than leave this person hanging, I'll tell Donna to have him contact me, and I'll try to figure out how to help.
He has a phone?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, he doesn't have internet access, or, I mean, like,
I don't know, do we even,
does he have a phone?
Stephen, do we have,
I mean,
is there
don't
an
you get internet
application on,
access
or
if you have a
Josh, you
phone?
would know.
Depends on the type
Is there an
of-
application online that I can print and get to this guy, or?
Yeah, let me try and figure that out. Yeah, there's like a form, but I'll see if I can convert it to PDF and send it to you.
Or just point me in the direction and I can scrape it.
Okay. I'll send
I
it to you.
don't know where to find it is my issue, I think.
Send it over.
And then the other thing, and I think Dasha, you mentioned this to me, is there's no library, or there's no artist posted for 2025.
All we need is a list of the artists
Yeah, that's
per month, and I'll put it
frustrating.
up. Yeah.
Well, do you think Jan has artists booked, or?
I think so. I think so, because I remember asking her last month, are we all booked up? I think she said yes.
Okay.
So that's all, like, to give her one single concrete ask, like, the most urgent thing would be
Get that list.
get that list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Andy Mack Tree Project, I don't really have an update, but I wanted
He
to.
saw some trees.
Saw some trees, yeah, Greg and I took my off-road vehicle off-road.
Because we don't let Richard drive.
So you guys went and saw some of the trees he's
Yes,
talking
we
about?
visited
Okay.
trees, yeah, we went on
That's
a tree peeping, trip.
Cool.
And I saw some parts of Londonderry I've never seen. I've lived here since 1988.
Hey.
Well, let me just say that it was, I'm gonna address one of the challenges we have with this, but let me just say that it involved a trip to the cemetery, it involved the burial site of human remains that are unmarked in an orchard. It involved,
Ooh, I want to see those.
it involved a kissing tree which is dead, and
Poetry, which
What's
is
a
no longer
kissing
there.
tree?
the poetry.
What used to be the location of the
Oh,
poet
it's
tree.
not there anymore?
No, it fell,
Fell down.
it died, yeah.
And it was weird how it came about, because Richard's son was visiting from, I don't know where he hangs his hat these days, but anyway, Rich was there.
He's moving to
And-
Milan, I think he
And
said.
and Richard was like, well, we gotta get this, and I just said to Greg, you wanna go for a ride? So we jumped in the car and we drove around with Richard giving directions and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put together a document to circulate with everybody of what we know so far in terms of the locations. And I'll try to do Google Street View or something. I'll pinpoint them on a map and come up with a list. And then
I mean, some of those trees are pretty impressive. I mean, you know,
No
you look
question
at some
about
of them and you just wonder, you know, what those trees have seen, because there've got to be some that are over 500-600 years old.
Yeah,
You
no
know.
question about it.
What did Londonderry look like back then? You know, and it's just, I mean, it's very impressive, some of those trees. They really are. But
So
Richard's a character.
Yes.
here's the idea I want to run by you. There seems to be some pretty good interest on the part of a number of us to get involved in this. If we pull 5 of us together for a meeting, now Richard's desire would be we go over to his conference room in his, his building.
Beautiful house.
But that constitutes a legal meeting, which means we need to record it, we need to put out public notification and all that rigmarole. and I've really been struggling with it. So normally, we wouldn't have a meeting in June. But what I'm thinking of asking you guys to consider is we have a meeting on our regularly scheduled second Thursday of the month in June. And we dedicate that meeting to the Andy Mack Andy Mack Tree Project. Have Richard come in and we collaborate, we collectively work it together. It can be a legal meeting, it can be publicized to, the community. It can be recorded if they want to record it. And we can sort out what the project's gonna look like. And then we can break it into subgroups, like individual task teams to do one thing or another. So I'm putting that out there for discussion. What do you guys think?
I think it's a good idea, I like it. Or no, maybe not all of us that aren't gonna get involved, but the ones that are gonna get involved come to the meeting, that wanted to. 'Cause
Well,
I know
let
Jan,
me poll the group right now. I mean, I know Jan wants to be involved, and she happens to be a botanist, so that would be valuable to have. Who else wanted to be involved in that?
I do, I would.
Yeah, so that we have a quorum already. So
Okay.
you see my dilemma? So what I'd like to do is have a meeting just focused on
Sure,
that project.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Why not?
Unless there's something, other business that we need to attend to in June. But I don't think there will be.
No.
So would this be the Thursday after the concert?
If it's a Thursday, it's after a concert.
But I'm just saying, oh, yeah, that's right.
And they all start, they
This
start
is
in
one every
June,
week.
so-
June 12th. June 12th,
But I'm saying, would it be the Thursday after the first one?
after the second one.
Second one, June
Actually, I
12th.
wouldn't be able to attend
Yeah,
anyway.
no, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm saying is we'll have a meeting with
Just
anybody,
for
with those
trees.
that are interested in
Okay,
potentially getting involved.
Careful, if you're not at the meeting, we're gonna name one of the trees Stephen, so.
Yeah, the dead one, right?
Yeah, we're gonna name it the Stephen tree, so,
Yeah, right,
because you're not around.
right.
All right, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
Dasha, do you want to be involved in that?
Yeah.
There's a whole oral history component to this that we need to address, which I think you would be well suited to do if you're interested.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got it rattling around. These are stories and legends that Andy conveyed to Richard that are rattling around in Richard's head.
You could just record them, so
Yeah.
we can have a transcript.
Yeah, agreed.
Set that up.
We need a skillful interviewer to draw all that.
Well, I'm gonna see what I can do too, to locate somebody who's got a really good high-definition camera, digital camera, so that we can take photographs of some of those trees in the fall, when some of them are gonna be just ablaze,
doesn't
because a lot of
Mr.
them are
Lee
these,
have that?
these sugar maples. Well, Steve,
That's a great
Steve
camera
probably
that
is the
he
guy
takes
for that,
in.
right?
I'd be happy to help.
Yeah, to get some really good shots of
Yeah.
those trees
Yeah,
in
a
the
nice
fall,
day.
when they're, because some of them are those beautiful sugar maple trees, and they look like they're on fire in the fall, if we have a good season, and it's not,
All right, I skipped over something inadvertently. So I presented a draft article or resolution regarding the allocation of funding that comes from the town. And what I'm proposing is that 15% of the town contribution, whatever that may be in any given year, be allocated to the art side of the house and 85% to the
concerts.
concerts. And we can discuss that. I'm not sure, I think all of us were at the meeting that we put that on the table, but
Yeah.
what do people want to know, or we want to discuss it at all, or?
Just
All right,
vote,
so let's
I'm
put
okay with
it, just put it to a vote,
Okay.
so somebody make a motion.
make a motion. Oh, sorry.
Get a second, okay, all in favor of that?
Yeah.
Okay,
So we're good.
and then I'll pass that along to
So
Justin.
Jan says no, it's too bad. Oh, we outvoted her.
All right, so the
She's
last
fine with it.
item is, Paige let me know she didn't think she was gonna be able to make it tonight. I mean, I knew she wasn't gonna be here at the beginning, but I'll give you a quick update. We've already covered wild apples. As you may know, Paige is a member of the Chamber of Commerce through her business. So she's met with Donna Morris, who's I think she's the president of the chamber, and now has access to our Londonderry Arts Council account, so she can be posting events and updates as needed, but she's also going to try to, press on the promotion end of the equation from that perspective with her. And I just need to get her connected with Steph, because Steph has been doing a lot of that all along. So that's a good connection, I think, from her standpoint. And the only other thing that she's still pursuing is setting up a Londonderry Arts Council networking night, and the chamber president, Donna, said that she would help identify a business that might be willing to host that. That's the update from Paige. All right, anything else we need to cover?
Just want to make sure I talk to Dasha before she leaves. So don't go.
You good?
I did want to see, but I'm just proposing, we kind of briefly touched on it. I was actually thinking of bringing back Art on the Common. That was going to be my idea for kind of an Art in Action, Art on the Common hybrid new event. And I don't know if we have the time. I was thinking of August, September as a timeline for when we could do that on the Common. So I just wanted to throw out there that I had some ideas for dates. But I don't know if I should just table that for now, or if you want me to present.
Well, what do you have in mind?
So I was looking at, I was thinking late August, early September, and the St. Peter's Craft Fair is scheduled for September 7th, or that weekend. I don't know if it's a 2-day thing. But I was looking at either the 30th of August, which I don't know if there's any events happening, but I couldn't find anything that looked like it was happening. Or in September, if we did the,
Following weekend? like
yeah, the
14th,
following weekend after the fair.
14th or something?
Yeah, the
Somewhere around
13th,
that,
yep.
13th, yeah.
And my thought for it is literally just to invite the artists. Remind me, actually, if there was going to be an in plein air art event happening, did that ever get put into motion, or was that?
Yeah, we did it.
Oh, you
No.
did it. Okay.
You mean in the future?
Yeah.
No, there's nothing planned.
Nothing planned. Okay. Because I was kind of thinking of just like riffing off of that as like inviting the artists out, a more informal thing, and seeing what kind of interest we can draw in the hopes of next year doing a very formal, put together Art on the Common situation, which it sounds like it's definitely a lot of work, but not an unmanageable
Right.
amount of work.
I've always loved the event, but it is a lot of work. There's a lot of
If we all
planning that goes.
pitch in, it would be helpful.
What's that?
If people pitch in, if we can all pitch in some
Right.
way, yeah.
Yeah. I worry that our pool of artists has dwindled a little bit, in part due to like the inactivity and Art in Action not happening in the past couple of years. So I think this would also be a good opportunity to kind of gauge the artists who do come and, see their level of interest in doing a bigger event. So that was my proposal.
So you were thinking of this September doing like a plein air thing, and then next year, doing a full-blown thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just wondering, because we're not gonna be meeting, and, that's a lot, whatever you need
Yeah.
help with.
Exactly.
If you wanna email, I'll help
It's
you
a
with
lot to
it.
pull together, given the short timeline. But I do kind of think that, unless anyone wants to tell me that I'm being completely delusional, I do think it's something that I can pull together in that timeline.
Okay, yeah. I think it's a good idea, and I'd be willing to help you, let me know. I mean, we live in the same community, so I can help you in any way.
Appreciate it, yeah.
Well, I'll definitely help out. Like I said, I've always loved that event. I hated that we stopped doing it because, I seem to recall that we did it the same weekend as the craft fair.
I
And
was.
it didn't adversely affect, attendance. I think people would go to the craft fair and they'd look around and then they'd come to the common because they were already out.
Yeah,
As
because
long as it's a nice day.
it definitely wasn't happening when I joined. And then so the 2019 Art in Action we had done the same weekend as the craft fair, and so that had that, like, you know, people were literally wandering over,
Right.
but they were looking to buy
Yeah,
apples.
they could almost walk from
Yeah.
the church to the Max.
Kit, help me understand, what exactly would you try to pull off in September?
Just like a working studio, like an in plein air type situation where we would advertise for people to come through and see the artists and have the artists be there working. They would have the option of selling if they wanted to do that, but it wouldn't be like the booth set up with all of the art on display. Be more of like if they want to have like a crate with things to thumb through next to them, they can sign up to do that, right? And then like we would gauge if that's something that we were gonna like even advertise it as. But I'm thinking really more like just a trying to think of the right word, like a studio situation. Is that making any sense?
Like the artists work on whatever they want to work on in the commons,
Yes.
and then people could come by if they want to and view it, and not have it as formal as, you know, doing it the way we used to do it this year. It would just be
Exactly.
like a intro to.
Yeah. So
Well, let me ask you this, do we have, part of the benefit of Wild Apples is that it's starting to rebuild the community, or starting to build a community of artists. And we've been, to your point, we've had a list of artists, I guess, in MailChimp, that we've been reaching out to, and it's eroding, people are falling off for whatever reason. Does it make sense to put together a brief description of what you have in mind and email it out to the artists to see what they would be interested in? You gotta describe, what you have in mind, and would they be interested in
If you did it
participating?
on a nice piece of paper, we could put it up at the opening so that artists who come could read it and say, look, this is what we're looking to try and put together. Would you be interested? They could have them sign up or put in their contact info.
Sign up sheet for that.
Yeah,
I'll like advertise it basically.
and then have a sign-up sheet so that you might be able to get at least a half a dozen people right
Well, I
there.
don't know if you can if you can pull it together, I mean, you got 10 days to do something like that, but
Yeah. Would that be like are you thinking like a little paragraph
Yeah,
or like
just-
an
yeah.
outline?
yeah.
And then, just a plein-air event or, and then just have it there, and then if they, they ask questions.
So you
we
wouldn't
can
have to have
answer.
specific dates even, just like you were saying, it's kind of in this time frame, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't try to commit to a date in 10 days.
Oh yeah, no, for
You
sure
know,
not.
so you could just say it's in this time frame of
Right.
late August.
Late
early
summer,
September
early
or something.
fall, yeah. Or
Yeah.
late August, early September.
to gauge the
And
people
and-
participating in that.
Think about whether you want to use the term plein air, because that was an interesting experience when we did that, because the artists met at the town hall, got a map of where to go, and then they disappeared. There was like no interaction whatsoever.
Right.
And I tried to go around just to say hello to all the artists and thank them for coming, and it was like, what are you doing? Go away, like, leave me alone, little boy, go away.
Yes, we're burning daylight.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I wouldn't want to use like that exact.
Yeah, and then you know, they were all invited back for, like a potluck picnic lunch. Dasha, you showed up at that, and some of them didn't even bother coming back. It was a very weird experience, and I think what you have in mind is really to have
Just to kind of have them
Interact.
that
a
area,
community
to
and
working
have
on
like a
something.
gathering of people
Yeah,
that
like,
are
like an
interacting.
open studio or something.
Open studio, I think that's like.
Sort of
the
like an
terminology
artist
I'm looking
orgy
for.
kind of thing.
No,
Artist orgy.
But you could,
no,
You know,
before I forget this,
You really want everybody to
you could call
come,
it
huh?
an open air studio.
Open air studio, I like that.
yeah.
I knew you would, that's why I horned in on the conversation.
there
We
you
can
go.
like shout it out in
Well,
the Wild
Well,
Apples
well, I guess if you
program.
don't like the artist orgy idea,
Well, because the thing that got me thinking about it too is when, when the artist had a lot of downtime at the Arts Cafe, some of them migrated over to the raffle table, and a couple of the artists were sitting with me looking through the old scrapbook of all the old events and talking about everyone, and it was like really nice. And someone had made the comment that oh, it's a shame that the weather's so bad that and so we have like a very low attendance for this, but it is actually just really nice to all get together. It's worth it even just that way. So I was kind of thinking of it more as more like a social event.
Yeah.
So it kind of ties in a little more to what Paige was talking about too, which is like networking events. I was viewing it more as a networking event.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sounds
I think
good,
that's good.
yeah. And I'll be more than willing to help you out, just get a hold of me and we can do
All right,
stuff
so
together.
if we agree we're gonna meet in June to cover
the tree
the
project.
tree project, we can put that
Touch
on,
base
put
on
this
that,
on the
too.
agenda as well. That
That
makes
sounds
sense.
good. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then just try to frame it somehow in one or two paragraph description of what you have in mind.
Okay.
And then I would encourage sending an email out to whatever we have for a database and say, this is what we have in mind, what kind of, would you be interested?
Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of
can,
feedback you get.
There's
I'm
one-
gonna- Yeah, I was just gonna say, I have to send out a MailChimp mailing in the next couple days about the launch party. So that's a really tight timeline, but if you want, you can give me like a sentence or two and I can include it in the next send about this. So I can, so we can like cover two topics in one email. And we can also like shout it out during the Wild Apples program, like as we're introducing the Londonderry Arts Council and stuff, we can just say, we're thinking of hosting this event later this summer. If you're interested in signing up, there's a sign up in the back, like by the books
Yeah.
or by
Right.
the coffee or something.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
That's a good idea.
All right, thank you guys for.
So, I'm sorry, one quick
everything.
thing, just reminding me of something.
I declare the meeting adjourned, unless on the.
But Steve
Stephen's
has
got a
something
comment.
he wants